Hi, this is Glenn Gabe from G Squared Interactive. This is episode 7 of SEO from the Front Lines. This episode is going to be based upon my latest blog post, which is titled Google Site Reputation Abuse Spam Policy and Why an Algorithmic Approach to Enforcing Violations is the Way Forward. So I wrote this after really analyzing a whole slew of sites that either received manual actions or didn't, based upon Google enforcing the site reputation abuse spam policy, which was new. They announced that with the March core update and said, early May they were going to start enforcing it. Well, on May 7th is when they actually started to enforce it, and we didn't know if it was going to be just algorithmic, if it was going to be manual actions and algorithmic, and ended up it was just manual actions to start. And for those sites that received manual actions, those areas of the site, whether it was a subdomain or directory, let's say holding coupons or deals or whatever it may be, they got hit really hard. As you can see here, these are just two examples, huge drops in search visibility when that happened. The way to get around that is pretty simple, is to basically either block that content, right? So no index it or remove it, right? So, I know a lot of people have thrown around the idea of blocking via robots.txt. It's really important to understand that Google even explains that blocking via robots.txt, so disallowing, is not a path forward for HTML files. You could see here right in the documentation that they link to when they talk about site reputation abuse, is that if you block via robots.txt, it should be for images and video. It's not recommended for HTML pages. So no indexing the content, totally cool to do, or just removing it. Some sites just literally nuke the entire directory of coupons or deals, some nuke their subdomains and whatever it may be. So anyway, so if you had a manual action, the easy solution is to just no index it. The not easy part of it was you're not going to see any recovery, obviously, because you're getting rid of all of that content, right? So there were some sites that had the manual actions removed very, very quickly. I shared about that on Twitter. Barry Schwartz covered that on Search Engine Roundtable. But again, the problem is you're not going to come back for any of that. But so what it really came down to after that was, taking a look at the situation and seeing what was going on out there, and understanding that manual actions are not foolproof. Sites can change. And if sites change, then potentially, since it's not algorithmic, those sites could actually come back, right? So in this section of the post, I talk about how manual actions can fail and handling spam policies algorithmically is the way forward. And I talk about a site here that is actually blocking their problematic section, the site reputation abuse, via robots.txt. And although you see a drop here in visibility, which can happen when you block via robots.txt, they still are ranking for almost 40,000 queries and ranking quite well. So right here I show an example, and this was a search, and they're ranking number 2 for their coupon codes. So this is blocked by robots.txt. As you can see, there's a message here that a snippet cannot be created because Google can't crawl the page, but they're still ranking well. So that's, they're still generating revenue from the site reputation abuse, even though they're blocking via robots.txt. So, and again, Google explains not to block, that's not really a solution for it. It should be no indexed or removed. So that's one reason that an algorithmic approach would be better, because if there was an algorithmic approach, no matter what was going on with blocking via robots.txt or no indexing, these pages would not rank. They would be demoted. So that's blocking via robots.txt, but also no indexing could go haywire as well. And that's the next example I give here. So this is a site that received the manual action, no indexed all of that content. Great. They dropped, with the manual action. Then the manual action was removed, but they didn't come back rankings wise because the content was no indexed. Then what I noticed was they started to surge again, and for that content. And at some point over the past few weeks, they actually removed no index. So Google, it's a powerful site. So Google coming in and re-indexing all of that content caused it to surge back. Now, here's the catch, or the kicker, is that they are no indexing it again. But now Google needs to catch up, right? So all of that content is remaining in the index until Google comes back and sees the no index tag. And so the way I put it in this post is, look, they're ranking for 277,000 queries, by the way. That's to the specific section with site reputation abuse. So as you can see, no indexing is not foolproof when it's manual actions because they could come back, right? So if that no index tag is removed, then they can come back and start ranking again until Google no indexes all the content and de-indexes that. So those are two really good examples of why an algorithmic approach would work. Again, if it's algorithmic, then basically that whole area of the site's going to be demoted algorithmically. And it won't even matter if they're no indexing it or blocking via robots.txt or whatever, it just won't rank. The other thing I wanted to point out, and also why a global algorithmic approach would be better, which is what this algorithm update would be when Google finally does it, is that there are sites violating the site reputation abuse spam policy internationally that were never impacted and never received manual actions. Here are just three examples doing very, very well visibility-wise in those areas. This is just for those sections with site reputation abuse. And that's, who knows what was going on there from a Google standpoint. Is it because they're international that they weren't impacted by manual actions? Is Google worried about that for some reason? Are they waiting for the algorithmic part to roll out because we know that's going to roll out at some point? I don't know. But I do know this, is that there's a bunch of sites internationally that were unaffected by this whole thing. So again, if there's an algorithm update that targets site reputation abuse, then those sites globally will be impacted as well, usually. So we'll be waiting on that to see how everything goes. So and I ended the post by just saying this could be part of the next core update, which could launch any day now. Danny Sullivan a few weeks ago explained that the next core update was very close. And site reputation abuse could be part of that core update for all we know, or it could be rolled out very close to the core update. Google can do that. They can roll out spam updates and then a core update or vice versa. So we will find out. And I will definitely be sharing about all of this on Twitter and maybe blog posts and obviously here on my video podcast for when it actually does roll out. So good luck with the next core update. It's coming soon, and thanks for listening.